A very good morning, guys, and welcome back to another daily market outlook. Starting off with EURUSD for the day ahead. So EURUSD obviously, reacted to this area of demand, as we can clearly see over here. So this is why we use fractal structure, guys, because it is again very clear how we pull back in towards this area of demand. And as long as we respected this low, we have still been moving up in towards the upside. Now, for the day ahead, what am I waiting for? Well, I'm waiting for a potential push in towards the downside, break of this fractal low, and then in turn we will also have an area of supply positioned over here, because this will be your buy before the big sell-off, and this then will become your supply because it broke this fractal low, and that will then provide us with a shorting opportunity. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for. I'm not looking for any longs at all due to the bearish nature of the overall swing structure. So I hope that that is clear. I'm just waiting. I don't want to force any trades during the end of this December month. So for the same reason, we could just be keeping on ranging and just not move anywhere because it's December. But if we do see this dump down supply forming, then I will look for those potential shorts. Going in towards 15 minute, just real quick. 15 minute is obviously still bullish. I do know some people who were looking for a short over here. So overall, what you kind of have is, let's say, this kind of ascending wedge pattern positioned over here that we're squeezing in towards the highs. Then what happens, we squeeze pretty much in towards this area of supply on the 15, and that is why we are currently reacting and seeing a bearish reaction. However, what is now very important is that of course, well, you can look for those shorts, but then what you would have to wait for is pretty much a break of this fractal low, because now what you see happening is just simply a reaction to this sell before this big buy. That is now your demand zone, and that is why we're now pushing up again. So you could potentially get in on the shorts very early, but then I would advise to look for that fractal break of structure and then trade it in towards the downside. Personally, because we've had a good month so far, I will not be forcing this trade. I'll simply be waiting for that 4-hour setup, which I just highlighted, because it will be very, very high probability if that occurs. Now moving over in towards the dollar index. So the dollar index is just ranging, not much, still respecting this high, still stuck inside the supply zone. So currently just waiting for a breakout, either in towards the highs or in towards the lows. Now moving on in towards Aussie dollar. So AUDUSD pretty much did what we wanted yesterday. So we broke this fractal high over here, and we had a 4-hour change of character because we also broke the low yesterday afternoon. So we broke the low of this bearish candle over here, which broke this high. We know we broke fractal structure. However, we didn't really see any follow through in towards downside. No like candle close below this low. Why do I mention candle close? Because then if you get that candle close, you can kind of really highlight this as your area of 4-hour supply, and it's kind of a little bit more significant, let me put it that way. However, nonetheless, you did kind of see that this morning we did see that bearish reaction during Asia session. So overall, what happened to the market? The market pulled back. It pulled back in towards this area of 50-minute supply positioned over here. And that is where we kind of have seen some downside from. At the moment, I do know that we have some liquidity positioned above this Asia high. So what I'm actually waiting for is to see, okay, maybe we take out that Asia high and then, for example, dump in towards the downside, break this fractal low, and then see this kind of as your buy before the sell, from where we can look for that potential short in towards the downside. That is what I would be looking for, because overall, from a 4-hour perspective, it wouldn't be strange to see a deeper pullback, at least, of course, in towards the EQ and in towards this entire sell before the big buy. So that's why I would look for those potential shorts. We have seen now the 4-hour change of character, like I just pointed out over here. Therefore, we could look for some potential shorts. Higher probability would have been a deeper follow through on this 4-hour candle over here, and a close or strong close at least below the low of this bullish candle where the buy before the sell starts, because there's just more of a significant area of supply. But regardless, you can look at the 15 now and try and identify a potential setup. Obviously, the 15 is still bullish. We close above this 15-minute high, meaning this is now your 15-minute low. Over here, this is now your 15-minute high. So if you want an even higher probability setup, then obviously just wait for a break of that 15-minute low, and then look to short the market. Because at the moment, if you just again draw in the premium versus discount tool after that 15-minute BOS in towards the highs, where did price pull back to? In towards the 50% mark, in towards that area of discount. So then if you draw on your 50-minute zone, once again, you can clearly see that we tapped this sell over here for the buy. If you just draw in the entire thing, we tapped into that zone many times now. Also after pretty much that sell-off in towards downside. But if we were, for example, to refine that zone simply in towards the wick to wick of the sell before the buy, then we haven't tapped into it yet, so we could still see one sell-off. But for that to happen, I would really need to see some bearish momentum, taking out the Asia high, then a dump in towards the downside, break of where the fractal low may be, here or here, then pull back, and then a short in towards this area of demand, taking out liquidity underneath these lows, and then potentially holding on to a runner that could hold through all the way down in towards that 4-hour area of demand. But for the same reason, we could just push up, just wait and let the market come to you. Now moving on in towards GBPUSD. So GBPUSD overall, of course, continued with that bullish momentum after coming in towards this area of demand, which you mentioned in yesterday's video. Now GBPUSD is at a very important area of price. So at the moment we have kind of like this area of 4-hour supply. So this is your area of 4-hour supply. That is why we're currently reacting. You could even refine it to this last buy before the sell. So as long as this area holds, order flow is remaining bearish. So this is now your fractal high. If we break that fractal high, we're going to buy a ton of GBP, and we're going to long it in towards this supply zone, and eventually also kind of like this liquidity above this high over here. So that's what I'm looking for if we can break it. Otherwise, what you could just see is kind of like continuation. If we then take out this demand zone, then I'll be looking for a short further in towards this demand zone, and just follow the order flow until we get in towards here, where we'll then see can the order flow shift, and then we look for longs once again if it does shift. But if we break this high, then of course we can already start buying GP, because overall we've now made a pullback, I think, in towards the 50%. Yeah, so you can see again, guys, exactly the 50%, exactly demand. So now what you want to see is kind of that bullish follow through, take out this supply zone, then we start buying. Otherwise not. So yeah, that is it. Waiting for either this supply zone to break, and then we look for the longs, or we wait for this demand zone to break, then we look for the shorts. Moving on into towards NZDUSD. So NZDUSD just ranging very slow, as opposed to AUDUSD. It didn't break this fractal low yesterday. That's why we're now moving up in towards the highs. Again, you could have taken a long. Overall, this is your 4-hour area of demand, positioned over here. So that's why we are reacting. Then going in towards the 15. 15 is obviously still bullish from this high and this low over here. I don't know why it's reacting so strange. So then you can obviously look for those longs once price came back in towards here. So then obviously, because that was obviously a 4-hour area of demand, then this is your 15-minute sell for the buy over here. Yeah, we didn't really respect it. If we would have respected it, then obviously this would have been your fractal high break. Then because that's the high that broke this low, and then obviously this would have been your sell before the buy, and then you set your order pretty much on top. But again, no real clean price action. So maybe that you would have taken it like here on this sell before the buy, and then hold on for that 1, 2, 3. That's NZDUSD. Last of all, gold. So gold has been moving in towards the highs, as we can clearly see. We moved back in towards this area of supply, which you pointed out. Then we saw that reaction yesterday after New York session. Now going back in towards the 15, a lot of volume came in. We can see this big volume spike late Monday for myself. So this is CET, Amsterdam time. Pushing towards the highs, pushed in towards this area of supply over here, this buy before the sell-off, again with pretty much absolute perfection, then sold off. However, respected pretty much the fractal low, so this is your sell before the buy. And again, I'm just reacting to the sell before the buy. I wasn't looking for any shorts inside here because this is your fractal low, so you need that fractal low to go to look for any entries. So yeah, for now, gold is kind of stuck because overall the 4-hour fractal structure is bearish. right? So the fractal structure is bearish from this high in towards this low. So what we're now waiting for is pretty much a change in the overall fractal structure and in that 15-minute structure. So the fractal structure of the 4-hour is this low over here. So looking for that low to go, like boom, and then this kind of becomes your buy for the sell. Then we look for a further short, which we will hold all the way down in towards here 1986/7. So that's what I'm waiting for, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic day. If you have any questions, make sure to join Discord. Speak very, very soon. Thanks, guys.